Okay, y'all. You are looking at the $50 318, and it is up in the air. I'm currently working on not so much the 318, but I'm working on this engine dolly cradle cart, former grocery cart, and I'm going to start making it more about getting this thing to where it's much more usable rather than the way it's been. The way it's been has not been very useful. So, uh, so first of all, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And I really seriously appreciate it. We're up over 1,900, way over 1,900 subscribers. I am truly, truly grateful. Always will be. And I couldn't have done it without y'all. So, let's get busy. All right, so let me catch you up to speed here. I've unbolted the engine, basically lifted it off. I did make this one modification right here to this bracket I made. I had to cut out this notch here so I can get the bolts out of the engine mount. Something I did not foresee. Don't know why I didn't see that, but I just didn't. So, okay, hey, we all make mistakes. Move ahead. All right, so my plan is to do this. Here's my plan. I have two pieces of this kind of tubing, okay? It's that thickness tubing. I'm not terribly sure, but here's my plan. Here's what I'm going to do. This will be welded to a piece like that, okay? All right, and then this will be bolted to a plate like that with some bolts, okay, and nuts and maybe some washers. What this is going to do, what this whole, all of this is going to do, is that this will be welded, this tube here will be welded to this bracket like so, so that these holes can correspond. These holes in here in this tube, this square tube, will correspond with the holes in the mount, okay, on the mounting ears. All right, of course I will trim the top of that tube up to make it easier to do right there, but you get the general idea. Now, where does this piece come in? Okay, where does that come in? I'll tell you. Now, keep in mind, this will be welded to the bottom of that. And then this will be sitting right there, like so. Let me set the camera down because it's going to take two hands to show you. This will be sitting on there. This will be going on the bottom. Okay? So, like that. So there'll be bolts in here that will hold this together. And basically what I'll do is I'll tighten the bolts down and clamp this to this main tube here. Okay? Then that will allow, when I loosen them up, it can allow this to slide on the tube backwards or forwards and allow this to be used for more than just one type of engine. It can be used on multiple styles of engines. Okay, you see how that works? All right, great, good. Glad we're all on the same page. Now, moving forward. So, next, I've got some work to do. A little bit of basic fabrication. Now, I don't care what kind of tools or equipment you're using. Basic fabrication is pretty much the same thing regardless. Okay? Now, I don't have two of these in that length. Fortunately, these holes line up just beautifully. However, I may have to enlarge these holes, but that's okay. That's not a big deal. So what I'm going to do is I got this marked. I'm going to cut that off, round the edges off, so I don't cut myself handling it. Then I'm going to enlarge these holes, and this piece too. Then I'm going to be doing some welding. Okay, so follow along, and I'll show you how I do this. Okay, so first I got to cut this. So here we go. Let me get the angle grinder. I'll tell you what, let me get the angle grinder. I'll be right back. I'll show you some more. Okay, got that piece cut off right there. So let me zoom out here. There we go. All right, so I got that piece cut off. Now I'm going to grind these edges down and get that to where it's a little bit nicer to handle, like that piece right there. Just looks a little better. I don't have to worry about cutting or scratching my hands or nothing like that. So I got the flap wheel on here, my angle grinder. Alright, so I'm going to grind a little space here on this plate, make it easier to weld on. Basically, I'm going to grind some of the paint off. Okay. Alright, so this piece is pretty well ready to go. Ready to be welded on. I'm going to start, while I got the flap wheel on, I'm going to dress this up. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing on this one here. Pull this plastic plug out of this one. And you can save time and help yourself out a lot if you do everything you need to do with, like, let's say you got a flap wheel on or a grinding disc. Do everything you need to do with that, then move over and do the next thing. Okay? So, pretty basic, pretty simple stuff. So I'm not going to bore you with this sort of, monotonous crap. So I'll be right back. Okay, y'all. I'm getting these prepared and ready for welding. And these bars here, I had to cut some length off. I was going to flat top these, but I cut them on an angle so that they can fit better into one of the onto one of the ears. If I have to, I'll cut a little bit off there. It's not that big a deal. So, and I got these marked right, left. So I even got one of these. Well, I had one of these marked with, yeah, okay. Got a little black marker right there and right there to mark it. I'm just going to use a paint marker next time. But to mark it in correlation with this plate. So that will tell me that, I don't weld, hopefully don't weld this on in the wrong way on here. So these are ready. These are all ready to be welded. So that's good. What else I've been doing is I got these back plates back here in place and bolted on. And fortunately, sometime in the past, when I welded on this square tube, right here, I drilled holes in it. And so I took these plates, I already had holes drilled in them. They were bent a little bit on the ends, so I straightened those up, opened these holes up, cleaned these bolts up. They had a lot of corrosion. Cleaned the bolt holes up too, and then got some washers and bolted these on here to the bell housing, and then bolted them on down there. They are just loose right now, but these are tight, and I'm pretty much got the engine centered up in this rig here. It's a little bit taller than what it used to be than before, but that's great. That's not going to be a problem. It's still, I think it's still high enough that it's going to work for everything, but I think it's low enough that it's not going to be a tremendous tip over hazard. So now up front up here is, I'm going to have the those bars I've been working on. They're going to go right here, okay, and like I said before, they're going to come down here, and they're just going to be clamped onto here, onto this tube. And then when I want to move them, I'll just loosen up the bolts, and I can move these clamps around wherever I need to. They don't even have to go right here. They can go back here on this ear. It doesn't matter. Some people might say, well, that's not a very sturdy setup, and you might have trouble, later on, if you're if the engine's running hard or pulling hard or something like that. Well, this is just a run stand. That's all this is going to be. Okay, this is just a run stand and just a way to be able to move the engine around here in the garage if necessary, which is what it's been doing so far. I'm just improving it some. So back there, I've never had that bolted like that before, so now I do, and I like it. I like it a lot. This bell housing is just an aluminum small block Mopar bell housing. I think it came out of a van of all things, but it was on an engine that on another engine. Pulled it off. There we go. I think it's from the early 70s, so don't quote me on that though. Okay, I'm not absolutely 100% certain, but I'm gonna carry on here, and I'll show you a little bit more when I get done. So next, I'm going to be doing the welding on these pieces, and then I'm going to be enlarging these bolt holes. I may go ahead and do the bolt holes first, and I'll just quickly show you how I do that. It's not very hard. So simple, we'll just take the plate right here. I'm just going to clamp it down like so. And I've got a step bit. You can get these a whole lot of different places anymore. They're really inexpensive. I think I got mine from AutoZone, but they're pretty inexpensive. What I do, put a little oil on the drill bit, maybe a little too much, but then I come in here, first put earmuffs on. Got to protect the hearing. Okay, and let's see, what size bolt will work in that now? Probably a pretty decent size one. Let's see, will this work? Pretty close. Got a little. There we go. Okay. So this is a 3/8 size bolt, we believe. Okay, let's see here. Oh man. Let's see. Ah, yes, there we go. Yes, 3/8. You want to know how to tell easy? Look here. When you're a beginner, take your wrench. Bolt. Oh, hey, I wonder what size shank that is on the bolt right there. Hey, there we go. 3/8. Ain't that great? Okay. Easy, quick. No big deal. Okay. Now, hole is enlarged. You can see much bigger than the other two. I'm going to enlarge this one. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this plate. And then the same thing on these two brackets right there. And that will be done. And I will be back in just a minute. Okay, y'all. I've got the brackets welded up like I want. And I think they're going to work out just fine. But I want to stress something to you. When you are welding, please do take into consideration the extreme amounts of heat. This one, I finished welding this one like, this is still 90 degrees, 91 degrees. So, yeah, that one's pretty hot. That one, I finished welding on that one like several minutes ago. I can still feel heat off this one. It's like 205 in some places. So be very careful handling stuff like that. Try to use gloves if you can. So, okay. Now, before anybody gives me any crap over the welds and how they look, this is not welding class. I'm not a professional fabricator. So there you go. I taught myself how to weld, so there you are, okay? Why did I teach myself how to weld? I got tired of waiting on somebody else to teach me. Nobody else would take time. Nobody else considered it important, except for me. So, I bought a welder, and here we are today. And I've welded on several vehicles, and while my welds don't look pretty, they hold, they work, and I haven't had anything fall off because of poor quality of welding. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's see about bolting this guy up. Now, what's great about this is interchangeable, either side, so it can work on the left side, driver side, or the right side, passenger side. It doesn't really matter. So now the back is already bolted up. And we're gonna go ahead and may have to jack the front end up just a little bit. So put that in there. Put that in there. Let's see what. It's okay. Let's see, can I touch it? Yeah, okay. It's safe to touch. I don't have to worry about it cooking me, melting my fingers. Okay, got a little trouble with one of my brackets here. Ah, there we go. Okay. Just fits a little tightly, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. There you go. You get a little bit better idea of how that goes on like that. I'm going to put a bolt in up here. I'm going to probably have to jack this up, jack the engine up just a little bit. Yeah. So, which is okay because I think the engine's leaning forward just a little bit anyway. It's tilting down at the front end, which is not a problem. So I'll just take it up just a little bit. I think that's about all I need right there. Okay. Might need a longer bolt. Needs to go just a little bit higher. Same size bolt though. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all. All right, here we go. So far it is working. I've got slack in the chain. Okay, I'll go ahead and let it down the rest of the way. Here we go. Okay. It is not absolutely correctly, perfectly centered in this, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. I may take like some kind of piece of bar stock, square bar stock, and go in here and weld it all the way down through here to keep this from like twisting back and forth. So far, everything's looking pretty good though. The reason I made this to where you can loosen this up instead of just welding this to this, the reason I made it like that is so that you can go in here and you can change this location so that you can put a different engine on here. But, you know, I may change that too. I may weld this in here and the other one on the other side and make those back there to where they can be moved. Don't know, but we'll just have to see. Those back there. As far as a run stand, I think this is going to be plenty sufficient for that task. You know, and you know, as far as also being just something I can roll this around here in the shop. So we'll go ahead and get this chain off here. There we go. All right, so I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. Just hadn't had the opportunity, hadn't made the time to do it. This evening, I said, I don't care. I'm going to go do this. And I went and did it. I'm not regretful. This turned out pretty darn good. Moving it, shaking it back and forth here. It seems to be pretty solid. So, I was thinking originally to turn this around, but I did not, because then this cart arrangement, the way it's made is it gets wider in the back and narrower in the front. Well, it wouldn't fit back here to where I could get the engine lowered in the way I wanted to and all of that. Even though, yeah, I know I can extend the boom out, but anyway, I think this is going to work out fine. If it doesn't, hey, you know what? I can change it, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so, all right, for the amount of time and the money I've got into this, which is like nothing, and the amount of time, which is a couple of hours, I think I did pretty good with this. So I thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, you might want to consider subscribing. I do all kinds of other stuff like this. And I will be focusing more and more attention on this engine and the Barracuda and maybe the truck too. I was checking the pinion angle, and the pinion angle on this is off. So that's causing a vibration inside. I don't like it. So I got to get that fixed. So that's another thing. So I'm going to get some pinion angle shims, order those. But okay, we'll just I'll keep on marching along on this and doing more and more and more. So I thank you very much for watching. And if you have any questions about this or anything else you see on the video, you know what to do. You're smart. Comment down below. Send me a question, comment down below, and I will be glad to answer your questions and help you out as much as I possibly can. So thank you very much. God bless. Have a great one.